Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Onyx Tavern. This is your host, the Barkeep, bringing you podcast 28 here at the Tavern, presented by HeroTaku.com. And once again, who am I with?
I don't know. Who am I? Oh, right. I'm Raptor.
Hey, Raptor. How's it going?
It goes. So, what are we talking about today, Barkeep?
All right. Just right to it, aren't you? Well, we have some interesting Power Ranger news coming out today, or yesterday, depending on when you guys are listening to this. But as of October 1st, we have found out that Nickelodeon and Bandai have extended their contracts with Saban Brands to 2016. Now, what does this mean exactly? This means that 2 more years of Power Rangers on television, pretty much. Bare minimum, 2 more years of toys. And what we're talking about specifically is what will happen after Super Mega Force. The interesting thing is, Raptor, is everybody's so consumed with Super Mega Force, the Legendary War, the Mega War, whatever it is called, Tommy showing up, and all these things with these actors, how they can integrate the footage. Nobody's looking past the Mega War, which is going to be the final episode of Super Mega Force. Because we know it's going to end in 2014 with the 20-episode formula that Nickelodeon has. So what's going to happen after that?
Well, first and foremost, I think the reason not many people have considered it is because that's in 2015 that we'd be having this new season premiere.
And that is a little bit far in everybody's minds and everything. Because, again, we're going to finish out Mega Force now. We have Super Mega Force next year. And then the question is going to come, what's next? Because by the time we get to 2015, we're going to have footage available from Go Buster, Kyuryuger, and we're going to ToQger. Yeah, exactly. The new Sentai. And then they'll be developing a new Sentai, which will start being aired. So one of the major questions that comes up from this news is what will be the next Power Rangers, and how will that be handled? And let's try to take this step by step here.
Okay.
The first question would be is what is going to be adapted? Will it be a Go Buster adaptation, a Kyuryuger adaptation, or a, say it one more time, ToQger? ToQger. Now the reason I bring that question up, because everybody's like, well, they'll go Buster. That's the next available. They're not allowed to go ahead and skip. Well, first of all, we don't really know what behind the scenes is with Saban and Toei and all that, exactly what they can be doing. And second of all, I would question the fact that, one, you have Kyuger that has such a large cast of characters and Rangers that you would think that Saban would want to capitalize on that merchandising opportunity off the bat. And two, because Go Buster was so poorly received in Japan, and would they even attempt to do something similar to that?
Well, consider for a moment the last time that Saban had to deal with a Sentai that had low ratings, which was, well, I'm sure there have been other ones, but the one that immediately comes to mind for me was O-Ranger.
Zeo, yeah.
Now, that one, well, it's a bit of a misnomer that it was a failed Sentai. The TV ratings weren't hot, but the toy sales were solid.
Yeah, and that leads me to believe that they probably went ahead with it because the toy sales were high. But Go Buster really didn't have that many high toy sales, or am I wrong about that?
No, Go Buster actually didn't have that solid toy sales. Now, a lot of people attribute that to the fact that Go Busters did not have a collectible.
They didn't have those items like the soul chips and the discs and the beast batteries.
Yeah,
and
they didn't have beast batteries. They didn't have Ranger keys. They didn't have a collectible card game. So
the question would be then is that if they, because remember they signed this contract also with Bandai to go ahead and produce the toys. So is it worth mentioning, or am I making something out of nothing, that they would consider skipping Go Buster for all that we mentioned? The low ratings and no collectibles, which seem to be, big in Bandai as far as the profit they would go ahead and make.
Because they're handling the merchandise on both sides of the Pacific.
Exactly. And again, with the low ratings, and, even the fans of Sentai, may go, maybe I don't want to see the adaptation because, one, it may be a copy and paste, which we've kind of gotten like these last 3 seasons of Power Rangers, or 2, they're going to go completely out of left field, like with RPM, and come up with something new. Now, while that benefited with RPM, and as we talked about, Go Buster should really be a sequel to RPM, which I am in favor for, believe it or not. Yeah, any way to right the mistakes of the past. But is it conceivable that they would skip Go Buster and go to Kyoryuger, coming off the anniversary season to go back to dinosaurs, to even further tie in with kind of the anniversary, get to dinosaurs.
That sounds like dragging out the anniversary way too long.
But do you think that Saban would do something like that? Because when Saban got it, that was the big thing when Saban reacquired. Power Rangers is coming back, and the 20th anniversary is coming. And look at all the stuff that they have done with the 20th anniversary. That logo is plastered on everything. Those Red Rangers are everywhere. They are capitalizing on it. And would it be much of a stretch to say that they would continue to do so by bringing dinosaur-themed Rangers back like they did for the first season? I mean, what do you think?
Okay, so first and foremost, I'm going to harken back to Go Sager / Megaforce as something that seems like proof of the fact that they're not allowed to skip a season.
Okay.
Let's look at this thing right here.
Okay.
You're looking at your 20th anniversary season. This is 2013, 20 years after 93.
Yeah.
Unless someone was forcing you, why the hell would you use Go Sager when there's this nice, shiny Go Kaiger footage that's perfect for your anniversary?
And that raises a good point because, the thing with the Go Sager thing that a lot of people like to bring up is that there are a lot of different similarities. Color pattern, weapons, the idea that there's a robotic ally and a head that's basically... And this is all from the Sentai footage.
Yes.
Because they had the robotic in Datus. They had Gosei Master, I think was his name, with the giant stone face and all that. And I forget who, I think it was Lavender Ranger that had posted this before there was the adaptation of Megaforce, that it would make a great anniversary season simply because of all these visual similarities. Not story-wise, but visual similarities.
Was this before Go Kaiger came out, though?
I would...
Wait, no. He was doing an article comparing the benefits of skipping Go Sager versus skipping Go Kaiger.
I think that might have been what it was. But whatever the case... The point I'm trying to get to, and taking a long way to do so, is that there was more similarities between Go Sager and, say, Zyuranger visually that you could capitalize on. But I understand your point, because really, this is the 20th anniversary. This would be the year to do the Super Megaforce, to do the transforming, to bring all the characters in.
Yeah, those visual similarities are just nothing compared to showing off your past teams.
And I fully agree with that. Although I would also argue that they probably did this in order to establish our characters, to give them character, what little they have, before you go into...
I don't think it was a story decision.
Well, I would like to think it is, because, okay, how would you handle a season when you come in with 5 new characters, you have 20 episodes in which to do something, and almost every episode would have to be dedicated to a previous team if you're following the Go Kaiger formula.
Well, Go Kaiger pulled it off.
But they had
50-some episodes.
Exactly, with completely different scenarios, set of circumstances.
I don't think it was a story decision. I think that was proof of this supposed, rumored, can't skip a Sentai rule.
And again, has that even been confirmed? Because
I've done a lot of research on this because when I was writing a paper about this once in a Japanese pop culture class.
Yeah, you told me about that.
I looked this up. I looked and I looked. There's never been official confirmation. The closest that they've got to official confirmation were some supposed leakers who post on the message boards.
And the way I think about it is I don't think that they probably have that rule. it might more have to do with merchandising. I think that they want to capitalize on selling more things. Because, again, it's all tied in with Bandai. And
Which, about that, I would simply say, what's the point? Because you have a new season of toys regardless.
exactly. And I guess it's like, we sold X amount over here in Japan for Ghost Sager. We should try and sell X amount over here for Megaforce or something like that. But that's kind of getting off topic. What I want to kind of draw us back to here is we got a couple of other things we need to go ahead and talk about. But what I want to kind of draw back here to is Go Buster an appropriate Sentai to adapt for the next season, you think? Not concerned with the story or anything at the moment, because we have no idea what the story is going to be. Again, it could be copy and paste or completely out of left field or somewhere in the middle. But, pardon me, visually, the types of toys that they make, the footage that's available, is it possible to take that and turn it into a successful Power Ranger season? And further, is that a season you can spread over 40 episodes in a 2-year format? Because that's something else we need to go ahead and consider. Let's assume they do Go Buster, okay? And I know I'm asking 50 different questions right here, but let's absorb everything as we answer this. They get Go Buster, they keep it to 20 episode format with Nickelodeon. So 20 episodes of Power Rangers Go Buster, then 20 episodes of Power Rangers Super Go Buster, and there's your 2 years. So are we talking about 2 years of Go Buster? Or do we have the opportunity of doing a year of Go Buster and a year of Kyoryuger? But then we go back to the question, how many episodes? 20 episodes, 32, 40, what? So
Actually,
I know I asked you a lot, so tell me what you think.
If I may.
Okay.
Just to divert this away from Go Busters.
Okay.
And let's look what the renewal of this contract means for the series in general.
It means it's almost guaranteed 2 more years of episodes.
It's guaranteed 2 more years of episodes, but we're also dealing with the fact that these are 20 episode seasons, and which means a big, ugly hiatus.
Yes, because that's the worst thing right now, is because technically there are 2 hiatuses going on. Because we had the first 10 episodes of Megaforce, hiatus, now with the new 10, another hiatus, probably 10 episodes, hiatus, and then the part everybody's waiting for, which is most likely, I guarantee you they will not have an old Ranger in the first 10 episodes of Super Megaforce. They will wait till the second hiatus.
Yes, so this puts Saban in a very strange place. Because if you look at Samurai, you can tell that they wanted to try and utilize, they wanted to go for a 40 episode story.
Yes.
And they're even trying to go for a 40 episode story now by keeping the same cast of characters.
Yes.
So if Saban wants to tell these 40 episode stories, they're stuck because they either have to deal with Nickelodeon and go with the 20 episode rule, or they could look elsewhere. And they have a place to. They have Vortex on the WB.
There are plenty of other places to go.
However, Nickelodeon is a much better place to have your show.
Yeah, because that's what all the kids are watching nowadays is Nickelodeon. Because with the new Ninja Turtles and SpongeBob
and the fact that
who knows
a lot more people have cable than people who have access to local TV.
Exactly, and you're not going to see them go on like an equivalent of what Fox Kids is today.
Well, that's what Vortex is.
That's what Vortex is? Okay.
Vortex, if for anyone who doesn't know, is a Saturday morning TV block that Saban runs on Kids WB. They show several past Ranger series. For example, Lost Galaxy airs on it, plus some other shows that Saban picked up from 4Kids.
And the thing is that they have other opportunities, but again, for the next 2 years, they're going to be with Nickelodeon. That's set in stone at the moment. After that, who knows what they're going to go ahead and do. I guess it depends on how successful it is with Nickelodeon. But again, we go back to the question is, if they keep the same let's assume nothing's changed with the contract. They just get 2 more years to do what they've been doing.
Okay.
First of all, can you tell an entire season of Power Rangers in 20 episodes with one hiatus like that? Can you think that can be done? And let's assume it's Go Buster. Let's say they go right to the next one. Can you tell in 20 episodes a full season that's interesting?
You can. If you are not trying to condense the Sentai series.
If you're not copy and pasting the storyline, if you come up with your own storyline that can accommodate 20 episodes.
Yes. Animes pull this off all the time. There are great animes that have just 13 episodes. They tell conclusive stories. Yes, you don't get as many character moments as you would like, but they pull it off. For example, Angel Beats, that's an anime that I really like. I was telling you about earlier today.
Yeah.
Pulls off the story in 13 episodes. Granted, there was a lot of character moments we could have wished could be expanded on, but what are you going to do? So, and heck, Go Buster could be a bit more conductive to that because of 5 Rangers.
Exactly. Because that's what I was just saying. Is like it's got a smaller cast that you can utilize. But in that case, it almost seems to me that every episode would almost have to be a character piece as opposed to introducing a new toy.
Well, think about Go Buster. It wasn't introducing a new toy.
Exactly, which is one of the things I really like about it. I've only gotten like 30, 35 episodes in, and that's one of the things I like about it because it is a good character piece.
Granted, Bandai will probably force Saban to put in some toys.
Yeah, I mean, but if it's 20, you're condensing like 50 episodes into 20 episodes, so you're going to get that acceleration.
That's what's happening with Megaforce. It's more about introducing a new Megazord formation just so you can have all the Megazord toys.
Yeah.
Without having kids be like, what? This wasn't in the show.
But here's also the next question that we come out of. Let's assume they do that. They do 1 season of Go Buster. Well, what about Kyoryuger? Because I would find it extremely difficult with what they have to sell, the number of characters they would have. Even if you don't include the Spirit Rangers, you still got a core team of 5.
Well,
can you do that?
Spirit Rangers, you'd still be dealing with their mechas.
Exactly, and then you're talking about 20 episodes there, because it seems to me that if they keep the 20 episode formula, that we're not going to have that type of format. That we are going to probably end up with 2 years of Go Buster, 2 years of Kyoryuger, and 2 years. Well, I mean, we don't even know after that because it would pretty much be that they would be focusing the next 2 years on Go Buster adaptation.
I would think that Go Buster could probably fly as a 20 episode season.
I agree with that, but
however, I think that they may return to the 2-year thing for Kyoryuger, just because it is just a beautiful marketing thing to the people in the toy department. That many mechas, that many Rangers, the Beast batteries.
But here's where I would bring up the issue. Let's look at Samurai. They went from Samurai to Super Samurai. Now, what the benefit they had is that they had the power-up modes that they pretty much invented. They had the disc where they had the cloth thing.
Yeah.
Whatever you call that in Japan. What do you call that? Where the tail, tuxedo tail thing. You know what I'm talking about, where you guys are...
I don't remember though. But
okay,
yes, the super forms. That's what it was.
But what I'm saying is, you had those 2 seasons, and that was fine. The problem we're running into now
is there's no. Okay, I see what you're saying.
You have
the super forms were a distinct merchandising ploy for the second.
So now here's the problem: you have the 5 Go Busters. And then you have a dinosaur-themed season the next, which is completely at odds of what you set up with the Go Buster based on the footage.
What I'm saying is to make Go Buster a self-contained 20-episode series.
Yes, and I understand that.
I would say Kyoryuger, start with do what they usually do, start with a new team.
But here would be the problem, because either they would do 20 episodes and then some sort of cliffhanger, because again, I don't believe you could do Kyoryuger adaptation 20 episodes, and then you either renegotiate the contract, get 2 more years, or you have to go ahead and change completely, take it to another network, and then you have the problem of either A, cancellation, or B, having to do a new production team or new writing staff, whatever,
and
then go to another network.
Let's just say maybe this Kyoryuger season takes off, or maybe the Go Buster season does well enough to convince Nickelodeon to keep the contract going. So if that happens, then you won't have to worry about this.
Yeah, because if we talk about contract renewal, then most of our conversation is moot. But, again, if we're only looking to 2015 here, then that's where we run into the problem. Because one of the issues I'm going to have with Super Mega Force that I know off the bat is, again, going from angel mystic powers to pirate powers. However they want to spin that, I think whatever it's going to be forced in some way. And that's what I wanted to avoid with what we're going to do with like Go Buster, is like if they do have to do that, it is going to be Ultra Force. Because the other thing is with Sentai, they don't do back-to-back similar themes. They don't have a technological theme and then another technological theme. It's like nature-based, then to tech-based, and then animal-based, and magic-based, and so forth and so forth. That's kind of what they're doing. And I just find that Saban is really putting themselves in a bind. They're giving themselves more work than they need to. I would love to see them go to a 32 to 40 episode format. And I don't know why they can't do that. I mean, I don't know why Nickelodeon is so against that.
That would help ratings. Because, face it, who's going to want to tune into Megaforce during that hiatus? You might get some dumb kids doing it, but wouldn't it be better for the kids to come in every week just so they can say, next week, a new episode of Megaforce? And not just have this big, ugly gap.
And that's the thing, is like, now...
where the ratings stagnates.
I want to say it started with Power Rangers in Space, but I could be wrong. I've gone back as far as Turbo. They would have the 40 episodes, or somewhere around that number. They would do a story arc, and on a hiatus, it's maybe about a month or two, and then they would go into a completely different story arc. So, like Lost Galaxy, they did everything up to where the Magna Defender dies and Mike is back. Hiatus, bringing back Mike as the Magna Defender, Trakina takes more of an active role and all that. Things significantly change.
Yes.
Now let's compare that right now to Samurai. Did anything really change between the last episode of Samurai and Super Samurai?
Open the black box.
That was it, and that wasn't even resolved in that episode. Granted, Super Mega Force has got to have a major change based on what they're doing, but you're talking about going to a different season. You're not talking about mid-season.
Well, seasons end on cliffhangers all the time in other TV shows.
Yeah, but also with Power Rangers, what you're trying to go ahead and do is it's all self-contained within one season. I mean, seriously.
Except for this one.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be a little bit different, but again, what was the point with Samurai in Super Samurai? Okay, because again, it's 40 episodes, it's the same storyline, and nothing significant happens between the end of Samurai and Super Samurai. So I don't get the point of doing a super season. Because, again, it sounds so stupid. A Super Samurai I get with the alliteration, but Super Mega Force?
It's just to make it sound like a distinct entity and make it sound like things have escalated.
But nothing escalated in Samurai. True, they will escalate in Mega Force, but I don't want to see them...
In merchandise, it did escalate, because now the dominant toys for the second season for Super Samurai...
The super modes. And
yes, so they had something new to promote in the toy line, so therefore things had escalated. And that's what we're getting with Super Mega Force, because even though the Gosei suits are still the primary thing, they have a new thing to focus merchandising on, being the Gokai suits.
And see, that's what's kind of bugging me, because, well, everybody knows my view on the toys and all that kind of stuff. I love the toys, well, at least the Japanese ones, but I don't think that should be the main driving force, because it's almost like saying Star Trek's main driving force was introducing new starships every week that they could put on the market for people to buy. That was not the case at all.
Star Trek didn't even come with a built-in merchandise.
Well, and I understand that, but again, I would like to see the shift to story, because here's the thing. This whole contract renewal, and what they've been doing since Saban got it back, I think it really is based on merchandising.
It is.
Okay. I concur with that. But, what if it was focused on story? And then, imagine the things you can go ahead and do with it. And again, that's where it kind of, that's where this throws me off, and that's what really kind of I like the news. I like we got 2 more seasons because I like to see Power Rangers continue.
Sure.
Even if it's crappy, I would still like to see it because I realize now I got Power Rangers.
Hold on to the hope of improvement,
and I got Sentai to fall back on.
Exactly.
Because that's the beauty of this franchise. You actually have 2 franchises instead of 1. But what was my point? I was getting to. I just don't like the idea that they have these restrictions for merchandising, which does not allow them the opportunity to make logical story decisions and logical decisions within whatever.
Here's the thing about the merchandising. The merchandising has saved the show in the past.
Which it has, and again, I'm not going to dispute anything with the merchandising, because those are all facts that we can probably go ahead and look up.
What I'm saying is, if it wasn't for Bandai doing some strong-arming with Disney, it would have ended with Jungle Fury.
Which I kind of would have been happy about, but...
But the fact was, RPM kept it going.
Yes.
We had that limp season with
the lame duck season, I guess you call it. I don't know.
The recut. But that kept it going. Because, maybe it would have died out if it went straight.
No, Saban would have still wanted to buy it back because they had the bet. If it was canceled, they would have got a bare market price for it to bring it back.
Well, it essentially was canceled with RPM.
Exactly, but if they didn't do RPM and they didn't do the rehash episodes, then you would have had, again, the bidding would have been at an all-time low, basically. Not that I know anything about economics, I'm just saying that if your series is not on television, it's probably easier to buy the rights to it than something that's really popular and on TV.
Yeah.
So... But again, it goes. Let's kind of bring this back around to our starting point. We got 2 more years of Power Rangers. Once the Mega War ends, we're going to start the speculation, all that. Tell me, Raptor, in your opinion, and I'll give mine. In your opinion, what would you want to see? Not what will they do, but what would you want to go ahead and see?
In all honesty, I would like to see. For a Go Buster adaptation, let's just assume that's happening.
Yep.
I would like to see I'm not holding out for the 20-episode rule to change, so I'm hoping to see a self-contained 20-episode series that doesn't have to roll into a second season. That's what I want to see. And
I will agree with that, but I would like to see a renegotiation of the 20-episode rule. Just so we can get 40-episode season that airs February to November or whatever it's going to go ahead and be.
Have it
one hiatus that's maybe a month long.
And a Christmas episode, because Nick likes those.
Yeah, get the Christmas and the Halloween episode and all that. But I'm just saying, go back to basics. It worked before. I thought having a break in the summer for Power Rangers worked well. And I think you give yourself more breathing room to do things. And I know that sounds odd with 2 seasons, but again, if you're on merchandising constrictions to do, you got to do Go Buster this year, but by next year you have to do Kyu Ryuger, then that's where you run into the problems. And again, I know we're going to have problems with Super Mega Force. I know I've been dissing the series and it hasn't even aired yet, but I just know the inherent problem it's going to go ahead and have based on its premise.
It's building off a foundation of poopy.
Well, that's an interesting way to go ahead and put it. So, but I would just like to see. I want to see him work it out because Power Rangers is now back to popularity. It's not going to get where it was in '93 and '94 and '95 to an extent, but they need to get back to.
It's better to be where it was in '95 than to be where it was in 2010.
Well, 2010 too. But I just want to see them kind of like go back to a formula that kind of works. Because, you know what? I would love to see them get kids in. Because, again, that's their target demographic for some reason. Get kids in there and say, do you like watching only 20 episodes and having to wait a year for the next ones? I mean, because what kid's going to say, yeah, that's fine with us?
No, kids love to see something new.
Exactly. But, I mean, still, I don't see any kid. I don't see myself going... 2 years of the same thing, but we only got... we had 60 the first year.
They lose interest at sitting around waiting.
Exactly, and I think I would love to be able to be in some of those meetings. Why can't we ever get information behind the scenes like that? I want to know that kind of stuff. I want to be a writer and see what kind of crap they tell me when I have to write an episode.
I think the only writer you'll ever get that
Amit, yeah.
He's the only person that'll probably ever
Because
spill.
apparently everybody else has got a disclosure contract or something. We won't talk about it. Why? Screw you.
Well, it's probably because Amit was a huge fan before he became a writer.
Yeah.
And everyone else kind of probably just, treated it
Going
like
through the
another
motions.
job.
This is a 9 to 5 and all that. Okay. So before we just kind of get off topic, Raptor, just tell me, what are your final thoughts on this? I mean, what do you want to go ahead and say to all of our subscribers out there about this contract? Just get quick summation of your thoughts.
I would say I would like to see the contract renegotiated because I would like to see a return to 40 episode seasons.
Yeah.
I think it would benefit the show ratings wise.
Yeah.
Better ratings would probably lead to better toy sales because the kids are more emotionally invested. Therefore, they want a Power Rangers toy a little more than they would when it's like, oh man, I've seen this episode. When's something new happening?
Exactly. And I will agree with all that, but I will also say that it's great that we know we'll have 2 more years of Power Rangers. I mean, that's the best news out of it. It's just that whatever else comes along with it is what we're worried about. And maybe Saban will listen. Maybe they will understand that they need to try and go back, and maybe Nickelodeon will understand
and who knows,
too.
Maybe Saban's working towards that right now.
I would like to think
Nickelodeon's resisting him. I would think that they are working towards full story seasons just because of what happened with Samurai.
Yeah, and I will also point this out. Ninja Turtles, I think they just did like 20 episodes of their new show, the first season. And their new season starts, I think, at the end of this month. And the last episode was only like a few weeks ago. So they have like a hiatus before Season 2. But their Season 2 is starting in 2013 when the series started. Was it last year?
Started last year.
Okay, well, maybe I'm wrong about that. But anyway, their hiatus is not lasting long before they get to their second season. And I don't remember very many repeats of that Ninja Turtle show. It went straight in, and now we got new episodes coming.
Cheaper, though.
For CG?
Yeah, that CG's terrible.
Oh, well.
I hate it. I hate weightless CG. It happens a lot in kids' shows.
Well, that's probably a topic for another time there. I got him riled up here. Well, I want to thank all you guys for listening here tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. When we get more news like this about Power Rangers, we'll definitely go ahead and comment about it. And once we find out what the adaptation is going to be, you can bet that we will be all over that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so again, thank you guys. Have a good evening. And the tavern is now closed.